We're doing more harm than good when we do stuff like that. If we actually care about dark-skinned people, when we actually want to liberate dark-skinned people, when we actually want to create access for dark-skinned people, that's who should be centered in the conversation. Point blank, period. Hey, my name is Queen. Welcome to the Mixed Vixen YouTube channel. Hey, boo, if you are new here, and if you're not new here, thanks for coming through again. Right now, we are doing my monthly live. Every month, I have a live. If you are a patron or tiers, you get access to all of the lives, uncut. I'm also drinking seltzer. Seltzer water is like my favorite. I know it's weird for a lot of people, but that's my thing. And because I'm drinking seltzer, I'm going to pause a lot, to burp a little because of the bubbles. But I haven't had any seltzer today, and I needed my fix. So I'm going to do that while we have this conversation. So if you saw the title for this video, I wanted to talk about colorism and misogynoir and their differences and also their intersections. It's very important for me to have this conversation because I'm noticing the conflation of the two. And although both of those systems are very harmful systems, it's even more harmful when you conflate them, because what happens is you erase the experience of dark-skinned Black women when you conflate those two very harmful systems. So we're going to get into that today. This conversation is actually brought to my attention from one of Mixed Vixen's Instagram followers. So thank you to @footwear17 on a gram for bringing this to my attention. If you have not heard, there's a new series on Prime called Swarm. I watched the whole series. I enjoyed it. I personally like the idea of a Black woman serial killer. Do I want people killing people? No, I do not. But it is a show. So I enjoy a show of a Black woman serial killer. I do not actually want Black women serial killers. And Chloe Bailey is in it. And there's a scene where Chloe Bailey is having intercourse with Damson Idris. I always mess up his name. I don't know why. But she has a sex scene with him. I actually saw this scene before I saw the actual show because someone screenshotted it and they had it all over Twitter. They had it all over Twitter, obviously, to shame Chloe, because that's just the great thing to do, is to shame Black women for doing anything, right? So that tweet is going around talking about Chloe Bailey. Then this tweet started to circulate in response to everyone shaming Chloe for this particular scene in Swarm. Halle Berry getting back shots got her an Oscar, right? Basically to say, like, it's not for nothing, it's going to get her somewhere, supposedly. And that's my assumption. I don't know, if this tweet was a retweet or something else. So then that tweet got a response from another person, and that person says, Halle Berry is not Black. She's biracial, quote unquote, white passing. Plus, she was Hollywood's favorite. Megan Good just talked about how hard her career has been by taking these types of roles. Chloe will learn the hard way. We don't make up the rules. That tweet is a tweet that actually went viral. I actually saw that tweet. I actually kind of laughed at it. I understood the latter part of that tweet, but to say that Halle Berry is white passing is ridiculous to me. Is she lighter than a lot of people? Yes, but she's not white passing. I would never call Halle Berry white passing. So when I saw this tweet saying that Halle Berry was white passing, and I've already had these couple of weeks of realizing that people don't even know what light skin is, it was laughable. So I paid this tweet dust. I paid it dust, moved on. Someone came in my DMs and brought it to my attention that now TMZ has a hold of this tweet, and TMZ has spun this into a story. The headline from TMZ says, Chloe Bailey's new sex scene kicks off colorism convo about Halle Berry. What makes me upset about this is that anytime colorism conversations enter the mainstream, and colorism is a system that harms dark-skinned people, why is it that it is a biracial person and a light-skinned person who are headlining this conversation about colorism, when colorism is not a thing that fucks with them like it fucks with me or fucks with people darker than them, right? So you're being harmful. Yes, the colorism conversation is now on eyes that it may have never been on. Oh, this is amazing. This is great. But it's not that great because you're erasing actual dark skinned people by talking about colorism with people who are hardly affected by the system that is colorism. And what I think this person probably meant, but are absolutely wrong, is misogynoir, but people conflate those two things. So I wanted to make sure that I had that conversation and made those differentiations because if you know me and if you know my platform, you fucking with dark skinned people, we got a problem, right? And unbeknownst to whoever made this ridiculous headline, you're fucking with dark skinned people. So now we gotta talk. So what I'm gonna do is this: I'm just gonna act like we in a one-on-one class, and we're going to talk about misogynoir and what that is, talk about colorism and what that is, talk about those intersections because they exist, and then talk about how can exist separately. What is misogynoir? It's a dislike of contempt for or ingrained prejudice against Black women. Misogynoir shows how sexism and racism manifest in Black women's lives to create intersection forms of oppression. This term was coined by Black queer feminist Moya Bailey. That's what misogynoir is. Misogynoir is the intersection of sexism and racism and the dislike, contempt, or ingrained prejudice against Black women. All Black women experience misogynoir. All Black women. If you're a Black woman, and I want to be specific because people are ridiculous, trans Black women as well, they experience misogynoir also. So that's misogynoir. Now, colorism. Colorism, this term was more popularly coined by Alice Walker, who we have recently been revealed to us is a TERF, which is wild crazy because a lot of language that I use is based on terms that Alice Walker popularized. So it's like really disappointing, but I just wanted to make sure that I let it be. Since I was saying who coined the term misogynoir, I was also going to say who coined the term. So what is colorism? Prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Colorism within the Black community has been a serious and emotional and psychological battle. Pardon my ignorance, but what is a TERF? So a TERF is a trans exclusionary radical feminist. It's generally mostly white feminists, but I've noticed in a lot of Black women, Black feminists coming out of the woodworks being TERFs. And basically what that is radical feminists. To me, you're not a feminist if you're excluding trans people anyway, but that's another conversation. But they exclude trans people from anything to do with feminism. So that is what a TERF is. I'm going to point out what the differences of misogynoir and colorism is, and then we'll continue the conversation together. But I just have to make sure that I did this. Race is a construct. Race is made up. Now, I don't say that to dismiss the effects of race because it's a made up piece of shit. But because of that piece of shit, I am an oppressed person, right? As a Black person. So I don't want to discount that. But colorism actually predates racism. If you look at places in India, places in Asia, darker skinned people were on the lower rings of society because you probably was poor, because you were working in the field and you was in the sun and you got darker. So colorism has always been a thing that predated race. So it didn't matter what race you were. If you were dark, we were going to be harmful to you. This construct of race, this made up thing, this caste system has always existed based on color. Who is darker, who is lighter. I don't believe it existed in a continent in that way, probably, but lots of places in the world, colorist systems exist before people even made up race. Race is a construct made up to subjugate people so that you could have chattel slavery and treat people however you want them. But colorism has always existed, and I feel like it will exist. Even if we dismantle race, colorism is still going to exist. The caste system that most of the world has used. Misogynoir is sexism based on race. sexism and racism intersecting. All Black women have experienced, will experience, can experience misogynoir. Colorism is not race-based. You can be of any race, and if you are dark, you can experience colorism. So you do not have to be Black to experience colorism. Colorism isn't something just determined by race. It is literally determined by how light or dark your skin is. All Black women do not experience colorism. And I see a lot of people throwing colorism onto things that is not colorism and making lighter skinned people the talking points of colorism. And when you do that, you are causing harm to actual dark skinned people because you are erasing them from the conversation. We have to make sure that we are using these terms correctly, because when you don't, you harm dark skinned people. It makes no sense that there's a headline on TMZ with two lighter skinned people talking about colorism. So I wanted to make sure that I, made those difference. Other times where people conflate, I believe, the misogynoir and colorism thing is, if you did see my conversation on Stranger Fruit, people do like to bring Megan Thee Stallion into colorism conversations when she's clearly experiencing misogynoir. I don't see colorism in that space because she has been granted the access that other people darker than her have not been granted. Like, that's clearly misogynoir and not colorism. And if we keep conflating those things, we are causing more harm to dark-skinned people because we are erasing them from that. Dark-skinned women specifically, because I'm talking about misogynoir, we're erasing them from that. And that is harmful. How do we address the harm that dark-skinned women receive if we're not even acknowledging that they receive it? We're doing way more harm than good. So I wrote something while I was on the subway today about this, because it was just really just like, I think I wrote this Wednesday, because it was just bothering me. This conversation is what made me make it alive, but I've just been seeing it. And I'm like, people need to learn what these definitions are, because they're actually important. So this is what I wrote really quickly on the subway one day. Colorism and misogynoir are both forms of discrimination related to race and gender, but they differ in their specific focus. Colorism refers to the prejudice or discrimination based on skin color, typically within a particular racial or ethnic group. This can manifest in a variety of ways, such as lighter-skinned individuals being seen as more desirable or attractive, or darker-skinned individuals facing negative stereotypes or being discriminated against in areas like employment or education. Colorism can affect individuals of any gender, but is often discussed in relation to women. The reason why it's discussed in relation to women is honestly because a lot of colorism conversations stay around desirability and not around the whole systemic oppression that is colorism. When I have conversations about colorism, although the desirability thing is a big part of it, I like to talk more about the systemic things, because I think that no one cares about women. So why would we care about the harm of dark-skinned women? So I try to broaden that conversation, because nothing is going to happen about colorism if we just keep it in the realm of light-skinned women getting access to things versus dark-skinned women getting access to things, because who the fuck actually cares about a Black woman? So now I'm gonna go further. Misogynoir, on the other hand, refers specifically to the intersection of racism and sexism that Black women face. It describes a particular brand of discrimination and violence that targets Black women due to both their race and gender. Misogynoir can manifest in a number of ways, including negative stereotypes and tropes in media, workplace discrimination, and police violence. Thought I was going to make an essay, and then I decided to do it live. Colorism, discrimination based on your skin tone. Not every Black woman is going to experience that. What Chloe Bailey experienced, as far as everyone talking about her on Twitter, was misogynoir. They were targeting her because she is a Black woman. It had nothing to do with her shade. It had everything to do with the fact that she is a Black woman. Now, if she was a darker skinned Black woman, because that happens, dark skinned Black women experience misogynoir and they also experience colorism. That is an intersection that happens for dark skinned Black women, but not everyone. But I bet you with those intersections, if there was a dark skinned Black woman, the conversation would have been way worse. And the reason Chloe even got that role was because she's lighter skinned, because she gets the access, because she is lighter skinned. So there is no colorism happening there. So I want us to make sure that we do not conflate them things, because it's harmful. The differences between misogynoir and colorism, and understand that the only person who experienced both misogynoir and colorism is dark-skinned women. And that's it. I want us to stop poking colorism into the conversation just because you see melanin is in the conversation, or just because you see two Black people and one person is one shade lighter than the other person. It doesn't help dark-skinned people. And if we want to eradicate colorism, then that means that we have to be making access and freedom for the darkest person. And that's not happening when you're arguing about Chloe and Halle Berry. You are not doing that when you are having these conversations about colorism, and then you center light-skinned women. That happens so much. And that's, basically why I didn't talk about Housewives of Potomac. I will not waste my breath on those light-skinned women. I'm not doing it. I just need more effort, and I just need us to stop centering lighter-skinned people. It makes no sense. You're not doing anything for dark-skinned people. You're not doing any work to dismantle colorism if you keep bringing up light-skinned people, or you keep bringing up people who in the spectrum of colorism are still closer to where the privilege is. I'm not putting all of my attention when it comes to dismantling colorism on Halle Berry. That makes no sense. So let's make sure that we use these words correctly. We're doing more harm than good when we do stuff like that. If we actually care about dark-skinned people, when we actually want to liberate dark-skinned people, when we actually want to create access for dark-skinned people, that's who should be centered in the conversation. Point blank, period. Like, I should not see a headline with Halle Berry and fucking Chloe Bailey. Like, you're wilding. And because the conversation is becoming more mainstream of colorism, and because more hands, white hands, are on it, TMZ is a white hand, is on it, we got to make sure that we make that distinct line of what misogynoir is and what colorism is, because that would have been a really good conversation about misogynoir and about the sexist racism that Black women experience. Because that was a great conversation to have about Chloe and a rampant misogynoir that was going on because she had a sex scene, which is like, so, and who cares? But it got conflated with colorism, and now everyone else is talking about something else, when we should have been talking about misogynoir, when we should have been focusing on how Chloe was being harmed because of everyone's hate for a Black woman. That's what should have happened. But now we have a colorism headline from TMZ with Halle Berry and Chloe next to it. Like, I never in my life thought I would see a headline with Halle Berry talking about colorism. Like, that's wild.